Hello my friends, welcome to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Alyssa, and today I am doing a much requested video. I am doing a career Q&A. So as many of you know, this is my full-time job being a YouTuber, a blogger, running my own website, all that stuff. And so today I wanted to answer some of the most common questions that I get, and hopefully this video will help some of you who are potentially thinking about starting a food blog or just a blog in general, and also thinking about starting a YouTube channel. So I asked on Instagram a few weeks ago if you guys had particular questions about my career or my background, and I got a bunch of responses. So I have them all here on my iPhone, and I've organized them into categories. So we'll kind of start with my own personal background. I'll talk about how I moved into this career. We'll talk about how I make money, which is one of the most common questions that I get. We'll talk about kind of work-life balance, how I manage my day-to-day, where I find inspiration, and everything like that. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive into today's Q&A. So first we're going to talk about my background, and the first question comes from Hello and Hala, and they ask, what did you study in college, and how did you find out what you wanted to do in college / afterwards? So I went to the University of Vermont, which is in my home state of Vermont, and I knew going in that I wanted to study business. It is a liberal arts school, but I've just always kind of had a business mentality. I've liked math, and I worked in retail when I was in high school, and I always had this idea of owning my own clothing store when I was done with college. But I did end up taking classes in all sorts of business, and I definitely found that I enjoyed the marketing aspect the most. So that led me to my career, which was 5 years of my time after college, and I worked at a small marketing firm that was based in Vermont. It's what I did when I moved down to New York City. I moved down here with Matt because he got a job down here, but I kept my job in Vermont. I was telecommuting for them, I was working from home, and I was doing my blog on the side. So Earth's Lane said, how did you know this is what you wanted to do? Have you found your purpose, or are there other things missing? And I feel like I kind of fell into this, honestly. I started my blog because I went gluten-free and dairy-free about 7 years ago, and at the time there just wasn't a lot of resource or information out there. And so I decided to start a blog and start sharing my own recipes because I was learning to cook this way, and I felt like others were probably learning to cook this way as well, and they would need similar resources. So I just started it as a fun thing, and it really blossomed into this amazing community that it is now. And I feel like this is my purpose in life. It's kind of to help people learn how to eat healthy, learn how to nourish their bodies, but also learn how to live healthy, because I believe that being healthy isn't just about the food that we put in our bodies, it's about how we live our life, it's the products that we use and all that stuff. So I do feel like I've found my purpose. Do I feel like things are missing? I do. I'm the type of person that always kind of wants more and like dreams bigger. So I do feel like there's more out there for me. I haven't totally figured out what that is yet, but I do have something really exciting coming that I'm gonna plan to launch in the next week or so. And that will be kind of my first step into something a little bit bigger, and hopefully some of you will join me. So I hope that answers that question. Let's move on to the next one. The next one is from Taylor Smith 1024, and they ask, when did you start a plant-based diet, and how did you know it was something you wanted to do career-wise? So like I just said in the previous answer, this didn't come from me being plant-based. It came out of me being gluten and dairy-free. Didn't ever have any idea that this was gonna be a career. It just kind of happened, and I'm so thankful that it did, but it definitely was not something that I felt like I wanted to do as a career. But as I started to grow the platform and as I started to generate some income, I realized that I could be a full-time entrepreneur, which was something that I had always dreamed about. And I went plant-based. I have a video actually that talks a little bit about my plant-based journey, so I'm gonna link that below. But specifically, I did go plant-based about 3 years ago now, and I'm not 100% plant-based, probably 95%. So if you wanna learn more about that story, you can click the link and watch that video in the description box below. The next question is from The Health Junkie, and they ask, when did you know it was time to go full-time with your YouTube/blog? So I hit a tipping point in November of 2014, 2017 now. So November of 2014, I had this realization that I was generating about 50% of my salary at my marketing job through my blog. I didn't have a YouTube channel at that time, so it was really just my blog. And really what I realized was if I had the opportunity to dedicate the time that I was dedicating to my marketing job, would I be able to translate that into the amount of money that I was making? So I decided to just really honestly take a leap of faith. I luckily had the support of my family and of Matt, and I quit my job. I gave them a 6 weeks notice, and at the end, right before Christmas of 2014, I was done with that job. I took the holidays off, and I really started focusing on growing the Simply Quinoa brand in January, well, full-time in January of 2015. So it's been about 2.5 years now, and I'm gonna talk more about revenue in a moment, so I don't need to talk about exact numbers right now, but that's basically how I decided to make the leap. Next is from Katrina.tiu, see you're a TIU girl, hi. So her question is, how long did it take you to see financial results in your business? And this is a really common question. I think a lot of people assume that you can start a blog and start making money right away, and that is not the case, at least not the common case. I'm sure that there are exceptions where people do kind of hit the ground running and they immediately start generating a massive amount of income. That was not the case for me. I think for me, I really started to see results after about 4 years of blogging. So it just, honestly, it takes time, and I always recommend that if you're interested in starting a blog or a YouTube or anything, you have to be really passionate about the topic that you're focusing on and you're talking about. It can't just be about making money, because you'll burn out, because you'll feel bad that you're not seeing the results that you want as instantaneously as you would expect. And also, if you're in it for the money, it kind of takes out the passion, and I feel like people can see. So your audience can kind of see that if you're just focusing on making money instead of focusing on helping people or sharing your story or whatever your particular niche is. And that's how you really have to get into it. So the last two questions in this category are I kind of already answered them. So it was, how long did it take you to quit your full-time job? And I answered that, so that was about 4.5 years. And then, how long did it take you for you to get enough followers to begin making money? What was your strategy to get followers early on? Thank you. Okay, so actually that part I didn't answer. So what was my strategy for getting followers early on? So if you're just getting started, this leads us into the next category, which is just getting started. So if you're just getting started and you're looking to get followers, I do want to say, I just want to caveat that when I started, the landscape of social media was totally different. Things like Pinterest didn't exist, Instagram didn't exist, and so it was a lot easier, I think, back then to get followers, because there weren't as many food bloggers or bloggers in general out there. There weren't these humongous platforms that there are now. So as early adopters on those platforms, we were able to scale more quickly. But if you are just getting started and you want to try to get followers, I recommend that you focus on 1 to 2 social media platforms at a time. So rather than spreading yourself thin and going everywhere, so trying to be on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and everywhere, just pick 2 that you feel really comfortable with, that you feel like your target audience or the people that you're trying to talk to are on and are using and are active on, and also where you feel the most comfortable. So maybe photography is just something that you absolutely love, and Instagram would be a perfect platform for you. If you're super uncomfortable with video, I would say hold off on YouTube and then maybe focus on Facebook or focus on Pinterest. And then as you get more comfortable with your brand and your platforms, you can begin to kind of move on to others. And in terms of kind of generating exact followers, I recommend that you network with people in your niche and with people that are of a similar size to you. So instead of just going to somebody that has like 400,000 YouTube fans and being like, hey, can you shout me out? That person's most likely not going to do that because they get those requests all the time. So instead, try to find a group of people that you can network with that are in the same space that you're in or a similar space, but also are at the same level that you are. So you guys can really help build each other up by commenting with each other. Here's Trevi. So you can help kind of comment with each other and share each other's stuff and really help to promote each other, and that way you will grow more quickly. So somebody asked, how did you start blogging? How did you decide to quit your job and become a full-time blogger? How do you make money blogging? Is it comparable to a full-time job? How many hours a week do you work? So there's like 5 questions in there, and I'm gonna break them into a few different sections. So I kind of talked about how I decided to quit my full-time job. I talked about how I started blogging. I really just started. That's all you have to do. You just have to start. And how did I become a full-time blogger? I talked about that. How do I make money blogging? I'm gonna save that for the next section. And then, is it comparable to a full-time job? Yes, this is a full-time job, and I'm making more money now than I did at my salaried job. And then, how many hours a week do I work? Honestly, I probably work 70 to 80 hours a week. If I had to kind of calculate all of the time spent, I am working the full day. So the full day that Matt is at work, I am working as well. But I also am on social media during the nighttime sometimes. I wake up pretty early and do stuff. I answer comments as I'm walking to yoga. I'm pretty much always connected, and that is something that is really difficult as an entrepreneur. It's really hard to disconnect. And so that's something that I'm working on. I try not to work as much as I do, but stuff's gotta get done, and I'm the only one that does it, so I gotta do it. All right, so the next question is, do I recommend starting a blog or a YouTube first? And which one did I go first, and do you think one helped the other grow more for you? So I actually don't have a recommendation here. So I think you should start with whatever you feel most comfortable doing. If you feel more comfortable writing and sharing photos, then I recommend you start a blog. If you feel more comfortable in front of the camera and you want to do this like face-to-face kind of talking to your viewers on camera, then YouTube is the perfect platform for you. For me, I hadn't thought about YouTube until like 2 years ago. So I started with my blog. I started with all of my other social platforms first, and then I went on to YouTube. And I think that having platforms just in general, having followers kind of everywhere does help lift you up on all the other platforms. So having a larger Facebook following helps me promote my Instagram and my YouTube, and kind of I can cross promote in a lot of my areas to my email subscribers, to my blog subscribers. So having a large platform in general, I am able to grow all of the other platforms. The next question is if I have any tips for someone who wants to launch a YouTube channel. And I kind of talked about this a little bit with the blogging, but honestly, you just gotta start. It doesn't matter if your videos are super high quality. I will say if you can focus on one thing for YouTube in video quality, it is the audio. So invest in a little microphone. You just wanna make sure that people can hear you and it's not all fuzzy. It's not that audio. That is the most important part of the video, I think. And then as you start to nail down your voice and the type of videos that you like to create, you can kind of grow from there. So the next question is, I can't seem to figure out and pinpoint who I am. Could you maybe address that, finding your brand, if you will? So I honestly think that that's something that I personally still struggle with. I don't totally know who I am in terms of a personality. So I, of course, am on camera and I'm just myself on camera. I'm not like forcing myself to be any certain way. And in terms of branding myself, I follow what I live personally. So I personally follow a plant-based diet, so that's the type of information that I share. I'm not going to start sharing foods that I don't eat and recommend foods that I don't enjoy or products that I don't personally use. I want to continue to make sure that my platforms are as authentic to me individually as I can. You're the only you in the whole world, and you have a special message to share. You have special experiences. You have an individual point of view on certain things that you're passionate about, or your lifestyle, or the way that you eat. And you need to be as authentic as possible, because that is how people connect to you as an individual. And that's how you're gonna kind of grow, and you're gonna form a tribe, and you're gonna form a community, because people feel individually connected to you and you help them. So the last question in this section was asked on Instagram stories, and she asks, I'm curious to know how you began making money from your blog and how you gained such a large following. Also, do you have any tips for people out there who want to do the same thing? So I've kind of touched on this, specifically how I make money. Let's dive into that next section actually. So the 3 questions in this section are, how did I start making money? Where does my income come from? And how do I manage to get a minimum monthly income every month? And how much money can you make as a blogger? Is it a good paying job for someone living in New York City? Now the platform is big enough that I make money from a variety of different ways. So the 2 main ways that I currently am making money is through ads on my website. I'm with an ad network, and they put ads on my website, and then I get paid on a monthly basis based on how many people come to my website every single month. And then the other way that I'm generating income mostly is through sponsorships. And you guys have seen a few sponsored videos on this YouTube channel. I also do sponsored content on Facebook and on Instagram and on my blog. And that is when a company sends me a product and pays me to develop a recipe or a piece of content using that product. But I do just want to caveat that, like I said before, I am only sharing products that I am passionate about and that I truly believe in. So I am not coming on here and talking about a product that is just paying me well, that I don't actually personally use. So I think that's a really important thing as you're thinking about starting and monetizing a blog, is that you need to continue to be authentic to who you are, and don't just sell out for the money, because your audience is going to be able to see right through that, and they're not going to believe you. You're going to lose trust, you're going to lose engagement, and ultimately, like, that's just not how you want to build a business. But those are the 2 main ways that I make money. That's probably 70% of my revenue, and the other parts of my revenue are affiliate products. So sometimes you'll see a little disclaimer at the bottom of my description boxes in my YouTube videos, and I'll be linking things on Amazon that I'm using in my recipes or in the videos. And if you click that link and you buy a product through that link, I will earn a little small commission on that. So that's just a small way to make money. It's not a lot of money. You absolutely don't have to go through those links if you don't want to. It's just a way to support the channel if you enjoy it and you enjoy the content. It's just another way to support me. And then other than that, I do a little bit of freelance blogging and photography, and then I also sell some of my own ebooks and recipe books and programs. So that's kind of where I make my money. And the other question, the last question in this section is it something that is sustainable, and how much money can you make as a food blogger, and can you live on it in New York City? So the answer is yes. There are food bloggers that are probably making millions of dollars. That's not me. Maybe one day I'll get there, but I'm not there right now. I do have a 6-figure business, which I feel incredibly grateful for, and also really proud of, because it's been a lot of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears gone into this business. And it took a while to get here, but it is a 6-figure business, so it's definitely livable. I do share expenses, of course, with Matt, so we are living on 2 incomes, which is really nice. I don't know, I probably could support myself here by myself in New York City, but it's a really, really expensive place to live. And I don't know if I would want to live here if I was living by myself. So the next section is more about my day-to-day and how I run my blog. So a blogger that I know, actually, her handle is Making Time for Health. She asks, how do you balance it all? What does your schedule look like? Do you have set days that you shoot videos, such as photography? Also, how do you get your hair to look so cute? You're so sweet. My hair, honestly, is just blow-dried and straightened. I am like so bad at doing my hair. So I balance it all basically because I have to. It does help to batch my days. So having days where I focus on content creation. Sometimes that's photography and recipe creation, sometimes that's videos, sometimes it's the writing aspect of it. And then I have other days where I try to focus more on the admin type tasks. But the headspace for all of the different types of things that I have to get done is so different that if I try to cram all of these different things into one day, I'm just not as productive. Other tricks for productivity, actually I do have a link in the description box below that goes to a productivity video that I did last year, but put your phone away, close the tabs on your internet, so don't have your email and your Facebook and all of these different things open. Focus on the one thing that you're doing at a time. And then once that's done, take a little break, walk around your house, your apartment, your office, whatever it is, and then go back and start your next project. All right, for some reason my camera cut off. So if I'm in a different position, it's because my camera stopped and I'm not sure why. But I was talking about not having no screen time when Matt gets home. So Matt gets home usually 6:30 to 7, and I try to not be on my phone or computer until like 9 p.m. That has helped me balance the personal aspect of it too. You gotta disconnect from work a little bit, even if you don't do this type of job full time, even if you don't work at home full time. You just have to find balance, and the only way that I have found to do that is by unplugging, like fully unplugging and disconnecting your mind and being present with the people that you're home with, being present doing whatever you're doing, and putting the phone away. Orange Sand Oats asked, do you ever find you get too obsessed with everything food and want to break from it all sometimes? I go through phases where I love cooking and sharing recipes, but I either get bored or it is too obsessed, or I'm too obsessed with it, so I take a break. It helps that my sister and I share my account, but I was just wondering if this happens to you. That totally happens to me, absolutely. And that is called burnout. So when you are just going full tilt all the time, full speed, you're just like sharing, you're creating content, you're bound to get burned out because you need that time to recharge and especially kind of put that creativity back into what you're doing. Probably every other month, I have like a week time where I'm just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't feel creative. I don't even know what I'm doing. And I just have to kind of work through it. Sometimes I just kind of let those weeks be a little bit more calm. Maybe I'm not creating as much content. I'm not being as present on social media. And it just is my body's sign that I need to just kind of take a break. I need to recharge. And I need to let that creativity seep back into my business, because that's what we're all about here, is that I need to be creative to continue to share recipes and content with you. And you get burned out if you're just doing that all the time. So don't be afraid to take a break. You know, you gotta be in this for you. You gotta take care of yourself, most importantly, or you won't be able to do this forever. And if it's something that you're super passionate about, then giving yourself that space to be more creative and take a break is 1000% worth it and will help you be even better when you come back. So the next question she asks, I've been trying to promote myself and share my creations as well online. So my question for you is, how do you stay motivated to stay current with your posting? So for me, I have a very consistent schedule, and that helps me stay on track. So I share on my blog every Tuesday, Thursday, and most Sundays. And then on YouTube, I'm sharing Tuesdays and Fridays. Instagram, I'm sharing every day. I try to. Facebook, I share multiple times a day. So I have a very strict schedule content-wise, and that helps me stay motivated just because I am kind of accountable to myself and I'm accountable to you guys. If I'm promising that a video is gonna go up on Friday, I better have a video on Friday because I don't want to let you guys down. So staying accountable to you as my audience and my community, but then also having that schedule really helps me stay on track. So then the last section, I just have 4 more questions here. This is all about just kind of like random questions that came in that didn't really fall necessarily into a category, but they're still very valuable questions. So this question says, I'd like to know what you find difficult about having a social media based career. Is there anything about your brand you wish you could change with hindsight? So I'm going to start with the second question. Is there anything I wish I could change about my brand? No, because my brand changes with me. So as I evolve, my brand evolves, and I don't right now currently feel like there's anything that I would change about who I am or my brand. So that's a good thing. And then, is there hard things about having a social media based career? 100%. You feel like you have to be on all the time, which is really exhausting sometimes. You have to really try hard to not get into the comparison game. It's hard to not compare yourself to the other people that are in your space that you might feel like are doing better than you, or why did that person get that sponsorship and I didn't, or how is that person making that much money and I'm not? If you have that headspace, you're gonna drive yourself crazy, honestly. Think about you, think about where you are. Are you happy with where you are right now? If you are, keep doing what you're doing. If you're not, think about what's making you unhappy and try to change that. So I feel like by comparing yourself to others and holding yourself accountable to what other people are doing, your message and your voice and your special thing that you have for the world is getting hidden because you're afraid to put yourself out there because you feel like maybe you're not good enough. Well, you totally are. You just gotta start, gotta be passionate, and you gotta do you. Because people are gonna love you for who you are, not for who you think you should be. So somebody asked, do you ever meet up with fans/bloggers to collaborate on ideas and work together? If so, how do you go about meetups? I do meet up with bloggers. I've just met them through events that I've gone to, press trips and things like that. We don't honestly meet up on that frequent of a basis. I would love to do more meetups with my audience rather than other bloggers. I mean, I love my blogger friends, but I actually have never done a meetup with my audience before. So I'd love to plan one of those sometimes because I'd like to meet some of you in person. But do I collaborate with people? I do sometimes. If you find the right person and you find somebody that you really click with and you both are super passionate about the project that you want to work on and you both are willing to share the cost of investing in that project, to share the workload, share the revenues, then go for it, because collaborations can be amazing and they can be amazing for your growth. Next question is, are trolls an issue for you being a YouTube blogger, and if so, how do you deal with them? So trolls are just the nature of the business, honestly. Like, especially YouTube, there are a lot of people that just love leaving negative comments. Luckily for me, I don't get a lot of negative comments. You guys are awesome and you're so supportive and you lift me up every single day, and reading your comments just makes me so happy. If there are mean comments, if they're really inappropriate or rude, I'll delete them. I want this to be a safe space. So as somebody who runs the channel, I have the authority, I guess you could say, to delete comments that are mean and rude, because I don't feel like that's something that needs to be out there. I don't want those vibes out there. I don't want it bringing down this community. I want this community to be about positivity, but you can't let those people bring you down. You have to think about all of the amazing things that you have and all of the amazing comments that you're getting. Focus on that and then forget the negativity, because one comment could totally bring you down, but then if you think about the 10 positive comments that you have, let that lift you up, because those are the people that you're touching. Those are the people that you're helping. The final post, I thought this was such a great question to end on. I was wondering if you have any moonshot type career goals with respect to Simply Quinoa. For example, starting your own brand of health food products, but yeah, any lofty long-term goals like that. So in terms of kind of lofty goals for myself, I really want to create more educational based content so that I can really teach you guys how to live the way that I live, reach your healthy goals. So that's kind of where I'm heading. But really it's for me about creating some of my own informational type products and potentially courses, programs that are less about what exactly to eat and more about helping you get from this point that you're at here to your healthy goal or whatever kind of your end goal is. So if there are specific things that you guys struggle with or anything like that, always make sure to share that with me, because I'm like a sponge. I'm just taking in all of your feedback and your comments. So if you have specific questions or anything like that, always leave them in the comments and let me know. You can DM me, you can email me, anything like that. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you have specific questions, leave them in the comments below. If you want to start a business, start a business. I so encourage you to just chase after your dreams. It's easy for us to let our fears get the best of us. So if you want to start a food blog and you haven't yet, go start a food blog. Now is the time to start. Now is the time to do what you want to do. And you never know, it could turn into a business like mine has. So I hope you guys found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone who submitted questions. And I will talk to you guys in my next video. Bye!